Welcome to the Who's Your Caddy podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Singh, and in this episode, we'll briefly reflect on last week's picks, dive into the upcoming PGA Tour event, which happens to be the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. This podcast is meant to help take your DFS game and even some prop bets to the next level. So whether you are a beginner or a seasoned pro, we hope this podcast is helpful. So without further ado, why don't we just go? Or not, because I don't know where the music is. This is the best part of the show, I promise. Ready, set, go. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Thank you so much for putting up with my little hiccups, even in a recorded episode. I'm sure Josh, our editor and producer, can take that out, but why? That's the charm of it all, right? I am going to bring in my co-host, Adam Hallas, at Mr. Hallas on Twitter. Adam, hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little frazzly, I guess. I'm obviously not in my home studio, and sometimes that, makes things a little different. But other than that, I'm good. How about you?
Doing well. I'm a little frazzled as well. The whole family did not get any sleep last night. So when I say the whole family, cat, dog, the mom,
Why?
Who knows? It's a domino effect when things happen at night. The cat wants to burrow out at 2 a.m. and crawls on you and starts doing this thing. The dog's like, why is he burrowing out? And the mom's like, I don't know why he's burrowing out. I'm not a dog or a cat. And
then everybody is just in chaos.
Yeah.
I get that. Where I stay here, there is a cat, and occasionally he just starts meowing at the door for no other reason than to be an asshole. So that's, I get it with the cats. I'm glad I don't have cats out at my house, to be honest, but
yeah.
Enough about cats, Adam. Could you please give us some background on the course, on this event? Because there are no cuts this week. There have been some changes to this event. And we want to hear about the course and hear about what's up with the AT&T Pro-Am, if you will.
Yeah. So, you're right. It's a no-cut event. And the reason it's no cut is this is the year that they elevated it so that they can get a little bit more star power from the PGA Tour, even though Liv is trying to suck away some of that. But so it went from 156 people to 80 something. And so we get when you have that small of a field, there's no cut. There's no reason to have a cut. And so, we'll be playing Pebble Beach golf links and then Spyglass Hill. Typically, we would be also including in other years Monterey Peninsula, but that is being excluded this year. But Pebble Beach is kind of the start of the show. It is the jewel of golf courses, kind of set up on the coast, California coast. It's going to be rainy. It could be rainy. They're looking for a possible rainstorm on Sunday, so it is a possibility that they play a ton of holes on Saturday and maybe get done on Monday. Who knows what's going to happen? And when you're on a coast, you have to work into your model wind, and it could be windy. Coastal, showers bring coastal winds, and so you have to take that into effect. Now, Pebble Beach plays very tough in the sense is that it's hard to make putts. You'll be looking at a lower percentage of putts made here in this field, especially on Pebble Beach. And then you're going to be looking at approach play, but more precisely, the approach play of about 100 to 125 is going to be your bigger strokes gained section. And then you're also going to be looking at people that can scramble because it's going to be windy. And then you're going to be looking at people that can score on par fives because that's where the biggest difference makers in the past has been. So, yeah.
I like it. Speaking of scrambling, one of my picks this week happens to be excellent at scrambling and happens to be excellent at the courses on Pebble Beach. I might just skip ahead, but I don't think I will. We'll get there in a second. Top players this week. When we look at a top tier, we're talking 10K or more. And you know what? You don't always need to have one of those, but it usually is a good idea. This week, I like Shuffles, lovingly named Shuffles, Xander Schauffele. If I'm going to pay 10K, I'm going to go with him. Projected for 90 fantasy points this week. His rostership is high, though, but not the highest. Homa is 22%. Spieth is 23%. And both actually have lower salary, but I like Shuffles. 15th in strokes gained overall, 6th off the tee, 3rd tee to green. What is there not to like about Xander Schauffele?
He's been playing great. He's a great West Coast guy. And he did pretty good last weekend. And so I think he'll do well here. And mentally, he does pretty well at no-cut events. So
good. Well, if you weren't taking Xander Schauffele, who would you take?
Surprisingly, I'm going to take Cantley. Cantley's great approach, does great in windy conditions. He didn't do that great last week, and that's why we kind of told everyone to fade him and concurred with Kamish. He on Sunday just kind of had a poopy day, +4. And a lot of that's due to his putting, which I'll bring up. He's great in approach, great scrambling, great in the wind, but his putting has been atrocious lately. He's been losing about 3 strokes on his putting, so he has to figure it out. And hopefully he's been practicing it because we need him for this weekend.
It actually does say poopy in the notes, everybody.
It does. I was trying to keep it family friendly.
I like it. All right. Well, moving on. The one I alluded to happens to be Jason Day because what I read was he's had 8 top 10s in this event out of 13 starts, if I'm not mistaken. He's played this event a lot. And I could have that stat wrong, but I do know that he has one of the most amazing records at Pebble Beach coming in. Like, I think it was a 2020 article that I had stumbled on that said no worse than 11th place out of 6 showings at that time. And I'm like, holy cow, that's no worse than 11th place at your time in this event. So he's really good at this event. 8.4K, super reasonable, 10% rostership, and he is great at scrambling. He's a scrambler.
He has, since 2019, he's been tied for 4th, 2020, 4th, 2021, 7th, 2022, tied for 24th.
Okay, there we go.
Last year. But I like Jason Day as well. He's in my pool.
Yeah. So that does sound right that it could be 8 top 10s in the whole span of this event. I like it. I like it a lot. And I have been a little gun shy. He missed the cut last week, but he had done okay prior to that. He made cuts. He was doing fine. So let's go. Jason Day, let's go. This is your event.
Come on, Jason Day. He plays well in windy conditions too, so he's not bad. The only thing that we really need him to get better on is his approach. He's losing 3 strokes on his approach. But if he gets that together, I think he'll be good.
All right. Another one that we both like in tandem is Beau Hossler, 7K on DraftKings, 11% rostership, 79 projected fantasy points. He tied for 6th last week. And here's an interesting stat. That was his 6th top 15 finish in 11 starts. So he's playing really good golf. His last 2 starts at this particular event were 3rd and 11th. So I like Beau Hossler. I like him this week. And
he's definitely trending up. He does well on approach. He gains about 2 strokes on approach. He's decent at putting, gains about 1 to 2 strokes on putting. But his trend lines is super sharp up. Came in 6th at the Farmers. He did all right, American Express, but it's kind of a opening. We've talked about it before. It's the opening to the season, so people kind of work on their shots and swings and don't really put much into it. So I like Beau Hossler as well. And he's, fairly long off the tee, but we don't need him to be long here. It's his greens and regulation and putts per round that we're looking at.
Okay, that's good to know. The next one I like is Hogarden. I call him lovingly. I always think of beer. Nikolai Hogard. I need to look up the pronunciation because that's what professionals do. But you get the picture. 8.1K on DraftKings, 9% rostership, 78 projected fantasy points. Tied for 2nd last week. And all of the data points to continuing on an upward trend.
Yeah, I like it as well. I like Hogarden. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sure there's a phonetic helper somewhere.
We'll figure it out one day.
It's not here.
Not here. Who else do you like? I see the top of your list at 9.6K, JT. You like JT this week?
I do like JT this week. At the top of the price range, he's got pretty good greens in regulation. He's decent putts per round. He does well at the windy courses. He has experience here. He came in 3rd at the American Express. Like, he's sneakily, and I shouldn't say sneakily, it's Justin Thomas, but with everything else going on and a bunch of, I would say no names, but the newer names coming into the PGA Tour. There's one familiar face up there in the top 5. He's great. He's doing great in approach. Overall, great ball striker. And that's what we're looking for. I think he's starting to get working on his putting, so I like JT.
All right, that's fine. I like good. Fine. Somebody on your list that stuck out to me, I have in this little section, I've been toying with a name like this or that, which doesn't totally track, but JT Poston, 7.9K. Why spend up on Sam Burns at 8.9K when you can have JT Poston at 7.9K? Granted, he is on 13% of rosters versus Sam Burns' 7% of rosters. They're projected for the same amount of fantasy points. We save $1,000 in cap space on JT Poston, and there is a 1% chance that Poston finishes better than Burns. I know it's slim, but it's something. So why do you like JT Poston?
I like JT Poston.
Poston. Tomatoes. Why do you like the Postman?
He gains 3 strokes putting. He gains 3 strokes approach. I mean,
there you go.
He's built for this course. So he's been doing great. His last came in 5th at the Century, came in 6th in the Sony Open, came in 11th at the American Express. He's built for this course, and I'm hoping the trend continues for him.
I like it. I like it a lot. I also like that it's 7.9K. And let me tell you, when you look at the spreadsheet of data, it sticks out like a sore thumb that he is a value priced for what you're going to be getting this week from JT Poston. Nick Taylor, 7,200 is also on your list of who to keep an eye on. And he is also on my list of golfers to consider this week. What is it that you have found fondness in with Nick Taylor?
Well, I like his name.
It's such a great name.
Yeah, it's such a like blend-in name. It's like
you can't even say all American.
It's a beige color of names.
Beige color of names. Nick Taylor from Canada.
From Canada. He plays well in the wind. He does okay. He does pretty well in difficult courses. He missed the cut at the American Express. He did okay at the Sony Open. Came in 7th. He is really up and down. But for a no-cut type event, and with that, you have to sprinkle in some guys that are like, God, do I have to play him? If you want some cash, you're going to have to play some guys that have a little bit lower rostership and have that like nuance that could really, move you up in the tournament. Outside of Nick Taylor, I like Brendan Todd. Brendan Todd is, again, built for this course. He's not a long guy. We don't need him to be. Distance here is way shorter than the average course, PGA Tour course. He is an iron master, an approach master, and he's great at scrambling. So I think Brendan Todd at 7,000, such a value, is a good pick as well. The problem with that is some other people are on him as well, and so his rostership could climb and could be higher than it is right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on it.
It is definitely worth keeping an eye on. I think we have a really hearty list this week. If you want to pay up, go ahead with Xander Schauffele or Patrick Cantlay. Keep in mind, Cantlay's putting has been poopy, according to Adam, but worth playing. Jason Day, Bo Hostler, Nikolai Hogard, Justin Thomas, Jason Day. We have a Hidexter Matsuyama thrown in there for funsies. JT Poston, Bo Hostler, we already mentioned, Justin Rose, Christian Kirk, Nick Taylor, Brendan Todd. Don't pay up for Sam Burns. Stay away from Rory. And maybe look at Matt McNeely. Yeah. That about sums it up.
You guys should have a good pool.
It is a good pool. I think so too. Do keep in mind, again, there are no cuts. You don't have to worry about that. So all you got to worry about is your guy scoring you some points. The last thing I want to touch on is something we usually talk about at the beginning. I'm going to say we have been doing a great job picking players who are making the cut. Overall performance last week, 87% of your cut picks made the cut. Overall, what is the overall number?
So the overall number is both you and I.
Together, we are 77%.
Yep.
Which is fine because week one, I had an 80-something% myself. So I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anybody else can put out those kinds of numbers, to be honest with you. They are fantastic, and I'm super proud of us.
High five.
High five. Okay, well, that just about does it, really. If you guys have any questions about your lineups, about any of our picks, about picks you're wondering about, you can find us on the app formerly known as Twitter, Adam at Mr. Hallas. I am at Kellyanne Phoenix. And tune in next week for an all-new episode of Who's Your Caddy? I'm probably going to play music because that's what I'm supposed to do, and I forgot last week. So let's do it now. Bye.